The only skill that matters, how to learn anything 3x faster. Narrator, VO. We are drowning. Every single day, humanity produces 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. In the time it took you to click this video, 500 hours of content were uploaded to YouTube. Moore's Law isn't just about transistors anymore, it's about knowledge. And while the world's information is doubling every 2 years, your brain's processing power isn't. We are facing a crisis. In the next decade, automation and AI won't just replace manual labor, they will replace knowledge work. The only way to survive, you have to upgrade your hardware. You have to learn how to learn. This book, The Only Skill That Matters by Jonathan Levi, claims to have the blueprint. It's not about working harder. It's about using the same techniques used by memory champions, polyglots, and, oddly enough, Paleolithic cavemen. Today, we are doing a deep dive into the science of superlearning. We are going to deconstruct how to read faster, memorize anything, and retain it forever. If you want to download a new skill into your brain like Neo in The Matrix, keep watching, because school taught you the exact wrong way to do it. The Only Skill That Matters, Part 1, The Caveman and the Classroom. Think back to 8th grade history. You sat in a chair, you listened to a lecture, you read a textbook, you took a test, and 2 weeks later, you forgot everything. Why? Because your brain hates boring. Levi argues that our educational system is fundamentally broken because it treats adults like children, but adults learn differently. This is based on the work of Dr. Malcolm Knowles and a concept called andragogy. See, for 200,000 years, humans didn't learn from textbooks. We learned from survival. We learned visually, spatially, and experientially. According to the book, if you want to learn effectively, you need to satisfy 6 requirements. Foundation, you need to connect new info to old info. Need to know, you need a practical reason to learn it now. Readiness, it has to solve an immediate problem. Orientation, it must be problem-centered, not subject-centered. Self-concept, you need to be in control of the learning path. Motivation, the drive must come from within. If you are struggling to learn coding or Spanish or physics, it's probably because you're violating one of these laws. You're trying to brute force it without a why. Levi quotes a woodsman. If I had 6 minutes to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 4 sharpening my axe. Before you learn anything, you have to prep. Ask yourself, what is the 20% of this subject that gives me 80% of the results? If you're learning Russian, don't learn the word for anteater. Learn the top 100 verbs. That is sharpening the axe. Part 2, the memory engine. Now let's talk about the hardware. Most people think they have a bad memory. Levi says that's a lie. You just have an untrained memory. Memory champions aren't mutants. They just know a secret, the picture superiority effect. Your brain is terrible at remembering abstract squiggles on a page, text. It is incredible at remembering images, specifically images that are violent, sexual, or absurd. Levi calls these visual markers. Let's try it right now. I want you to memorize a name, Mike. Don't just say Mike. I want you to close your eyes, picture Mike Tyson, but he's not boxing. He's holding a microphone, and he's singing karaoke. Badly. Got it? Now let's learn the Spanish word for to fit, caber. Picture a taxi cab. Now picture a bear trying to squeeze inside it. He can't fit. Cab, bear. Caber. This sounds silly, but this is the neuroscientific nuclear option. You are converting abstract data into visual, spatial memories, which engages the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for long-term storage. The mind palace, the nuclear option. But what if you need to remember a lot of stuff, like an entire speech or a book? You need a container. You need a memory palace. This technique is 2,500 years old. It was used by Greeks to memorize epic poems. Here is how Levi teaches it in the book. Follow me. This sounds simple, but this is the neuroscientific nuclear option. To memorize a speech, stand in the doorway of your childhood bedroom. Look at the first corner. Imagine two seahorses mating. Gross, right? But memorable. Then imagine a vacuum sucking them up. This represents the hippocampus, seahorse, and its job to filter memories. Second corner, imagine chunky peanut butter smeared on the walls. This represents chunking information. Third corner, a tangle of old cables and wires. This represents Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together wire together. By anchoring these weird images to a location you already know, your room, you can't forget them. Your brain's spatial navigation system is evolutionarily perfect. Use it. Part 3. The forgetting curve. But even with memory palaces, you will forget. Enter Hermann Ebbinghaus. This German psychologist discovered that within 24 hours of learning something, you forget most of it, unless you interrupt the curve. This is called spaced repetition. You shouldn't study every day. You should review material right before you are about to forget it. Levi Lefemen's tools like Anki or Readwise. These apps use algorithms to show you flashcards only when necessary. If you know it, you won't see it for months. If you struggle, you see it tomorrow. This is the difference between cramming and actually learning. Part 5. Speed reading isn't a scam. Mostly. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Speed reading, is it a scam? If you think you can read a page a second, yes, it's a scam. But Levi argues that the average person reads at 250 words per minute, and you can easily double or triple that with comprehension. Here is the mechanics of reading. Your eyes don't move smoothly, they jump. These jumps are called saccades. And when your eyes are moving, you are technically blind. You only see during the stops, called fixations. To read faster, you need to do 3 things. Stop subvocalization. That little voice in your head reading aloud, it limits you to speaking speed, 150 words per minute. You need to decouple looking from hearing. Reduce fixations. Instead of looking at every word, look at groups of 3 or 4 words. Peripheral vision. Don't look at the edges of the page. Read down the middle. Your peripheral vision will catch the sides. Levi suggests training with Schultz tables to expand your vision. It feels like walking on your hands at first, but eventually you break the sound barrier. Part 6. The secret weapon. Pre-reading. But the biggest hack in the book isn't speed reading, it's pre-reading. Levi advocates the SQ3R method. Survey, question, read, recall, review. Before you read a chapter, skim it. Look at the headers. Look at the bold text. Read the first and last sentence of every paragraph. Build a map in your head. Then, and this is crucial, generate questions. Why does the author mention Baltimore? How does this relate to tax law? Curiosity primes the brain. It turns a boring task into a treasure hunt. If you don't have questions, you won't remember the answers. Part 7. Brain maintenance. You can have the best software in the world, but if your hardware is overheating, it won't work. Levi dedicates the end of the book to high-performance habits. Your brain uses 20% of your body's energy. If you are trying to become a superlearner, you need to treat yourself like an athlete. Sleep. It's non-negotiable. It's when your brain cleans out metabolic waste, beta amyloid plaques. No sleep equals no long-term memory. Nutrition. Your brain loves healthy fats, omega-3s, and hates sugar spikes. Exercise. It boosts BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is like fertilizer for your neurons. Conclusion. The only skill. We live in a world where the skills you learned in college are obsolete by the time you pay off your student loans. The ability to learn, to truly learn, is the only safety net you have. Jonathan Levi's message is simple. You are not stuck with the brain you were born with. You can upgrade it. You can build memory palaces. You can read faster. You can outpace the algorithm. But you have to stop passively consuming and start actively training. As Levi says, once you stop learning, you start dying. I'm going to try to memorize a deck of cards using the memory palace technique this week. If you want to see how that goes, check out this video here. Thanks for watching, and keep learning.